One of the funnier things going on today is that this group of guys right here probably consider themselves to be punk rockers of some kind. It's this weird thing going on. People think that they're punk and the mainstream. I don't think that that's quite how that works, but these people really don't have any understanding of what it is to be a punk rocker, though they're trying to claim it. So recently in an interview, a real punk rocker, Glenn Danzig of the Misfits, who is a big part of the punk explosion, he came out and said you couldn't have that again today, and he's 100% right. I like how he's standing here. He's like in his 60s, but still looking pretty badass. But anyway, he gives an interview to Rolling Stone. Most of it is about his upcoming horror western flick, Death Rider in the House of Vampires. And the interview asks him, a bunch of questions about punk, and he straight up says, no, it couldn't happen today because of woke BS and cancel culture. And he's 100% right. A lot of stuff that's happened before could never happen again. At least while we live in this soft society, you can never have it again. And he's 100% right. I'm going to go over what he said here. This is some pretty good stuff. So what he says happens towards the end of this interviewer, at the end of the interview. And Corey Grow here asks him about a song. It's a particularly nasty song, at least the title is. I can't even say what it is, but just take it for what I'm saying. It's a song about struggle snuggling, or at least the title is. So I struggle snuggled with your mama. And he says, it's just a crazy-ass song. We do things just to make them angry. And then the interviewer asked if it was just a matter of Danzig cooking up the most effed up content imaginable for the sake of absurdity. And he says, part of it, yeah. Like, F everybody, F you, F you, F you, F the world. It's just like, F your system, F all this BS. It was something else. And that's how it was. They were going around trying to piss everybody off. But today's crowd wants to conform to the system, and it's just not the same thing at all. And I don't think they understand that. And it's just funny to me when you have a lot of these people, like, who was it? I think it was Jack Black. Didn't he call Biden punk rock? It's like, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't know the standards had fallen so low. So it was in this moment of reflection on punk's trollish attitude during the 1980s that the polarizing C word came up. I don't think people will ever see anything like it again, he said. There won't be any new bands coming out like that. Now they will immediately get canceled. And that's 100% correct. This is part of the problem with music in general today, is a lot of it is safe. And I want to be fair, it's not just music. It's also entertainment. Entertainment and music, movies, video games to some extent. Like, well, the thing that video games have, at least, is a very, very robust indie crowd. And you can make whatever you want as an indie game, and people do. That Subverse game is a good example of that. Kingdom Come is a good example of that. And you'll have people trying to cancel it. So video games for now are doing a little good. Anime is still doing good. Anime is almost somewhat of like a golden age right now. It's doing so well, and they can tell whatever they want. But you see what happens, right? When you do a Goblin Slayer, when you do something that's a little risque, you have people come out. Interspecies Reviewers is a good example of that. And also, let's not forget, redo of Healer. Like, these are things you would never see pop up in the West. Ever. You won't see it again. You won't see stuff like that again. And this is going to eventually, it has to lead to a crash in entertainment. particularly with movies for sure. Music, you can do underground music too. So music still has that, but as far as something reaching more of a mainstream level, you can forget about it. Nothing like punk rock was. So, asked to clarify what he meant, Danzig continued, people don't understand because everything's so cancel culture, woke BS nowadays, but you could never have the punk explosion nowadays because of cancel culture and woke BS. You could never have it. It would never have happened. We're lucky it happened when it did because it'll never happen again. He continued, you won't have any kinds of bands. You won't have any of those other kinds of bands again. Everyone's so uptight and PC. It's just like, okay, whatever. And I got to say, I just love that he still has this attitude at 65. Yeah, you'll never see bands like this again. You'll never see a revolution in music ever again. It's always going to be corporate, safe music that doesn't push any limits, that doesn't want to offend anybody, that wants to hold your hand. Music, at least a lot of the new mainstream stuff, has been going down this road for a few years now. My music is usually it's always somewhere between the 70s and the early 2000s. And I just been staying there. I find some stuff new here and there from some smaller artists, but it's not often because it's hard to find that stuff. So, he's 100% right. And what's going to be funny is when they try to cancel him for saying this. They're going to try to. We'll see if that happens or not, but I would imagine he won't care. He won't care. Remember what happened with Johnny Rotten when he was busted with that Orange Man shirt on. Remember how that went? So I wonder if it'll happen to Danzig here. That'll be interesting to see him wave a middle finger at them because he's probably doing just fine financially, so he doesn't care. Anyway, what do you think of his comments? I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell and all that good stuff. And as always, I will see all of you on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment, make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that, and subscribe if you're new.